It's really tiring sometimes when we have to do all these podcasts together. It's like really exhausting. And sometimes when I'm this tired, I need coffee. And it'd be really great to get coffee at a Wawa. But I can't get coffee at a Wawa because it's not in California. So, and they have all different kinds of flavors. I remember they also had like an English toffee one too, which was freaking
Oh,
awesome.
that sounds good.
Yeah, English toffee was always my go-to when I didn't want just like regular coffee. Obviously, they have breakfast sandwiches there and other things, snacks and all that stuff. Gas too to get us over to, to get us over to. It would be easy because like when we're on our way to Good Day Sacramento, like in this
Oh
week,
yeah,
when we're going to Good Day Sacramento, we could just stop at a Wawa, get the coffee, get the breakfast sandwiches,
and
and then
get
get
gas.
gas.
Yeah.
Right, because we'll be there this week, actually, Saturday. We're not sure the time yet, but we're going to be there Saturday reviewing Wonder Woman. Spoiler free, of course.
Yeah, always. Yeah, so Wawa, the trifecta there.
Yeah, it would be great if they would just put it right on the way to Good Day Sacramento. That way we can do all three. So not only do we want Wawa on the West Coast here in Sacramento, we also want them specifically in a certain spot so it doesn't like I want to backtrack.
No, and usually the TV studio never has any food or coffee for us. So they keep
I think we need
promising.
to. I think we need to be bigger stars than that.
Yeah, no doubt. Start making demands, and they're like,
So
"Sorry."
instead of getting like free coffee and free breakfast sandwiches, we're trying to get like a multi-billion-dollar company to come out here and put a gas station in a, in a convenience store for us. That should be much easier.
All right. Well,
So
hashtag
hashtag.
West Coast Wawa. We're gonna be on Good Day Sacramento Saturday morning, June 3rd. You could watch us live. We'll have all the information on our Facebook page and all that good stuff. But we're going to be reviewing spoiler-free review of Wonder Woman, and of course, the following Monday, our podcast will drop with the Wonder Woman review. But
Spoilers. Full
spoilers
of
for that
spoilers.
one, yeah, for sure. Hopefully, it's good. And I'm not eating my words right now. So, anyway, well, that's that. And on to our very special podcast. Welcome to episode 83 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
So we have a very, very special podcast. It's a 3-part podcast. We're calling it Chew on This Embraces Its Feminine Side. And this is something that's kind of been in the works for, almost a year, right?
Yeah, it's been about a year.
Yeah, some time ago, like a year ago, we were stalking one of our interviewees, I guess you'd call her, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Vic, as you all know, has 2 daughters, and I have all sons. So, but women in media is something that I don't know. I guess over the last like 5 years or whatever is really kind of starting to kind of. I don't want to say dominate, but just really starting to kind of come about. And it's been a long time. There's no reason why this shouldn't have happened earlier, but it's an awesome thing to see. And so women are really, they're all over media and just doing a bang up job and just kicking ass. And the 3 women that we got to talk to are kicking ass in each one of their genres in media. Our first interviewee, we met actually at Good Day Sacramento, right?
Yeah, it
Back
was
in
our
January.
first. It was our first time being on TV, and we were actually surprised that she actually said yes when we asked her to be on the podcast. So her name is Heidi Moneymaker. It's one of the best names. I say this all the time. She's probably sick of hearing it. It's probably one of the best names in all of like media or all of film or anything. Like it's not a made up name either. It's not like her normal name is like Jane Doe or Jane Smith. That's her real name. Like it's not a stage name, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But we exchanged contact information, and she said she'd love to be on our show to promote women in media. So she's a stunt woman, most famously for Scarlett Johansson in the Avengers movies and Marvel movies since Iron Man. Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2, yeah.
Right. She's been in a lot of other things. I mean, the list would go on and on. She's been in Star Trek. She's been in John Wick 2 most recently as well. She is currently filming something that we can't talk about. But if you go on IMDb, you might be able to figure it out. Our second female interviewee on here is Amy Ratcliffe.
Yes.
I mean, she is ultimate journalist nerd, feminine power. There, she just hosted an amazing. She had actually a few panels,
Like 12.
at the at the Star Wars comic, Star Wars, Jesus, Star Wars Celebration. She just did that. I'm sure the videos are all over YouTube. We checked out the one where she had Dave Filoni on and
Daisy Ridley and some of the
yes.
people from Rebels, the Women of Rebels TV
right.
show.
That was an awesome.
Really awesome
panel.
Yeah.
And last but not least, of course, is Sarah Kuhn, who is a writer and author. We've been talking to her for a year to try to get her on the show.
Yeah, she kind
really
of.
long
I mean,
time.
in a small way, or maybe in a big way. I don't know. She was kind of the inspiration to kind of get this thing going, because originally I think we wanted to interview her for a book, but then this kind of snowballed into this, which is way better. So it was really cool talking to her because she has all sorts of different perspectives. So it was really, really good interview with her. And she wrote,
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
She wrote Heroin Complex. We had found out about this book last year. We both read it, both loved it, and we've been stalking her for a year to get her on the show. And she's actually going to be promoting her new book coming out. That we'll let her talk about it, because she mentions it on the episode,
Yep.
and she talks about it herself. So we'll let her do a much better job than we could do it justice.
Yeah, so it's a 3-part episode. So it begins with Heidi Moneymaker, and then Amy Ratcliffe, and then we end with Sarah Kuhn. So hope you guys really enjoy it. It was actually 3 fantastic interviews from women in different genres of media. Enjoy.
Yeah, lots of great stories. So hopefully you enjoy listening to it as much as we had talking to them and listening to their stories. Thanks, Heidi, for showing up. What time is it over there
Sure.
right now?
It's 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Can you tell us what you're filming over there? Is that
I'm
hush
not
hush?
supposed to.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
Okay. Okay.
intriguing.
It's not Star Wars, is it? Because that would be awesome.
No.
She's doing reshoots of The Last Jedi. That'd be pretty sick.
All right, so we're just gonna get started here. We're pretty laid back with our interviews, so
Cool.
so right now I'd like to introduce Heidi Moneymaker, just an unbelievable talent in Hollywood. If you don't know about her, she's done. Let me just read off her quote unquote resume of the things that she's actually been in. Just some small movies like Iron Man 2, Cowboys and Aliens, Avengers, Lone Ranger, Jupiter Ascending, Furious 7. I mean, these are just some crazy Civil War. I mean, these are just some crazy movies that she's done. She's one of the most sought after stunt women in all of Hollywood. We welcome Heidi Moneymaker, who has one of the best names ever for that's your actual real name, right? Like that's not
That
a
is my
stage
actual
name.
real name.
It's a
How kick ass is that?
I think
Kind of worked
we
out,
met.
huh?
Yeah, that definitely did. We met back in January when we were doing
Right.
the 1 year anniversary plug for Good Day Sacramento, and I told you then that you should be in a James Bond film with just your name. It's a perfect like James
I've
Bond
been told
villain.
that before. People want to see it.
then you have Moneypenny talking to Moneymaker.
Exactly.
So,
Oh, that's
Or
great.
maybe
That's
like
cool.
Moneypenny training Moneymaker.
Oh,
because
that's
Oh,
even
there you
better.
go.
she'd
I
probably
want to
be,
see that.
yeah, outside, I imagine.
Like we just said, we can't thank you enough for being here. I know you're on a tight shooting schedule. You're filming
Sure.
something right now that you can't tell us. We know next month you're actually filming a small independent film called Infinity Wars.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
That's okay. You don't have to. All the people on the internet let us know with that, so you're off the hook for that. Um,
Good.
So, before me and BJ get a chance to geek out on all the things that you've done and maybe get some insight of what it's like to be a stunt woman in the industry, I want to talk about what you're doing right now with your partner Lisa, your business partner Lisa Newman, who couldn't logistically we couldn't get her on right now. Hopefully in the future we can. So I'd like to talk about basically about your business venture with her, if you want to go into that right
Well,
now.
yeah, I'd love to. To be honest with you, I train very, very hard all the time, and I always have. And there have been very few women, stunt women or athletes or whatever, that I have felt, not necessarily could keep up with me, but that wanted to train, kind of as psychotically as I like to train. And so when I met Lisa, this girl gave me a run for my money. And she's not a stunt woman. She's not, a martial artist or a gymnast, and I thought, wow, here's this chick. She's kicking my butt. I need to do something with her. So we um we really we had a friendship of training for like 2 years where we were so busy. We barely had time for anything, but we'd squeeze in a workout with each other because we know that it would be a hardcore workout. And after those couple of years, we had a friend say, hey, you know what? You guys both keep talking about wanting to share this amazing knowledge you have for fitness and nutrition with the world. You should do something together. And so we thought, yeah, we really should. And that was the beginning of Fierce Lotus and our book, The Balanced Warrior, and our upcoming training program called the Action Star the Action Star Workout Program.
Now, go into a little bit about the Balanced Warrior. We were there again on Good Day Sacramento. I read up a little bit about on the book, and it's basically about women empowering themselves to say you can do everything that you want to do. You don't have to be just a housewife. You can be a housewife, be in great shape, be a businesswoman. You can balance all those things together. Did I get the gist of it correct?
Yes. Well, when Lisa and I first got together, we started in, testing this workout program I wanted to create. And like I said, we work out really, really hard and our workouts are challenging. And we thought, we have so much knowledge and information. We want to make sure that we are reaching the people who aren't quite ready to jump into a program that, need help figuring out where to start. And, it really starts in your mind. And so we decided to write the book as kind of a self-help meets fitness guide for anybody and everybody, but really we were trying to help those who don't really know their first step and, feel a little bit lost and wouldn't know where to, would maybe be intimidated by jumping into a program right away. But if they could sit down and read about it and work with what's going on in their head and what are those things, the roadblocks that are keeping them from being successful, that might be the first step into them actually jumping into a program.
So besides the book, Heidi, do you have also like a fitness video? Or is that something that you guys are doing? And is there a launch date? And what is it? What
Yeah.
makes it different than others?
Well, we
Other
actually have
videos?
kind of two products to launch here in the beginning of the summer. We don't have an exact date yet, but we're right on the heels of it. One's called the Action Star Workout Program, and it is a really fun program. You get all these workouts that are 30 minutes or less, but they're really high intensity and they're like shredding workouts. They're really great. You get a nutrition and meal plan guide with recipes, a meditation guide, and a calendar of events for your 30 days your 4 weeks that you're going to be doing this program. And there's two different levels of that. And then we also are launching a teacher training program.
Oh,
And that is for trainers trying to get continuing education credits for their certifications and or gyms to buy and place as classes in their gyms. And it's really cool because it's very similar to the Action Star Workout Program workouts, but we've broken them down to where you can have a 45-minute to an hour-long class for your time slots, and there's a whole rollout to it, so you can start a little more basic and build up your followers and your classes and stuff. So those are the two products we're launching in the summer.
Wow. So that sounds like that's going to be huge. I mean, especially if, I mean, once it takes off, I mean, it's going to be like everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's going to be doing it.
Well,
Everyone's like probably going to be excited about seeing something different and new and fresh, and that's like really a fresh way to take fresh take
yeah.
on an exercise program for sure.
You know what? I really hope that people love it. I mean, everyone that we've tested and trained with so far thinks it's really great. The thing about it that is different, you asked that, I'm sorry I didn't answer it, is that it's really fun. So
Mm.
we've taken yoga, strength supersets, and high intensity cardio and made what we call action sequences and action scenes within the workout. So you're
Oh,
going to
cool.
get, you start with 2 strength supersets, and you power it out, and they're all timed. So if you're at a different level than someone else, you can go slower, or they can go faster, or we can all meet in the middle. So it's a little bit, better for all levels. Then after this power superset, you move into like a quick 45-second yoga flow. We call it an active rest, but it's lengthening and toning the whole time.
Mm.
And then you jump into your 1 minute of high intensity cardio. And the high intensity cardio we have are 6 beat mini fight scenes based off of my experience choreographing fight scenes for some of those bigger movies.
Oh my gosh.
Um, so yeah, we have these really fun little fight scenes you get to learn.
So so now all you got to do is come up with an app for the iPad where you can film with green screen, right? Like film you doing those little action sequences, and then they could see themselves, fighting in the Avengers or Civil War or
Yeah,
something
well,
like that.
that's a you're on the right path, but that's coming up.
So would you say that the workout is a little bit better if you actually cosplayed while doing the workout?
Totally. Absolutely. You know why? Because that's one of our biggest things and that's not even a joke. When we're talking you through these workouts, we're wanting you to get into the fantasy of the film world. So, most people go to movies to escape and they sit in a theater and they watch these heroes on the screen. They get empowered, they feel good, but they're sitting still for 2 hours and they're eating popcorn and drinking a Coke. So we thought, why can't we bring that empowerment, that excitement, that escape and fantasy into your own living room so that you can be feeling like any superhero, action star, whatever you want, while you're working out. So through the workouts, we're giving you little scenarios. Like we have, for example, one move in one of the supersets is kind of like a shoulder bounce, and you have an exercise band around your wrist, and you're pulsing, doing a little shoulder exercise. And we kind of give you little scenarios like, okay, you're a super spy, you're locked in a max prison, and here you go, you're stuck in these cuffs. They're zip tied. You got to break them. You've got 30 seconds. Let's do this. So we really do. Yeah, I say cosplay it up. I mean,
How many sessions do I have to do to be able to do the Black Widow twirling move that you have evolved like crazy?
you know what? I've never taken anyone from 0 to 60 on that one. Not
I was telling BJ the other day was as we were getting ready for this podcast, like I was watching. I specifically just watched the fight scenes that you were in, trying to figure out which ones were you. And I remember the first time I saw that move, and then it was in Iron Man 2, and then it was again in the Russian scene in the Avengers, but it was a little bit different. And
sure.
then again in Civil War, and it was different again. But every time I've seen you do it on screen, it evolves into something that's more kick ass.
Yeah,
So
you
I
can't just
can't
come
wait
to a
to see
new
what you do in
movie.
Infinity Wars.
Yeah, you can't just come into
I
a new
can't
movie
wait
with
to
the
see.
old move.
If you're in that movie, even.
If I happen to do that movie, that probably would be what I would do.
Right, that you can't confirm or deny that you're in that
Uh,
movie.
fair.
So a little bit about your background, like we tell all of our guests that we first get to interview, that we first get to talk to. We internet stalk you to try to get a little bit about your background.
Oh, cool.
I found out some cool. I thought not in the creepy way, but in the facts and fun facts to talk about. You were actually you started out as a gymnast at UCLA,
Yeah.
and a national championship gymnast as well.
Hmm.
So, could you talk a little bit about that and how you transitioned into stunt work?
Yes, of course. That was the beginning, really. I mean, I started gymnastics when I was 6 years old, and I was all serious about it, making the junior Olympic team and all that stuff when I was younger, and then earned a scholarship to UCLA for gymnastics, and moved to LA, and I loved it. I trained even harder when I got to college than beforehand. I really wanted to do well, and my freshman year. we won the national championship as a team for the first time in history. So that was really special and amazing. And then the second year I won individually on bars, and I won the third year on the vault. And then the fourth year we won as a team again. So I think I actually still hold a record at the school for having won a national championship every single year I was there.
I think so too. I saw that on your bio still on UCLA's website.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that was amazing. So that experience was something that was gifted to me by Valerie Kondos, our coach in UCLA, and I'll be forever grateful just in that experience in itself. But once I was, done competing, I had a couple of friends who had gotten into stunts that once in a while they'd call me and say, hey, they need someone to double this girl on a TV show or a little movie, and it's a gymnastics bar routine or something, and we're not in shape. Do you want to come do it? So that's kind of how I got in, just, making a little bit of money on the side, doing, some commercials here and there. And I wasn't really sure that I was going to go into that world because I'd actually started a fitness company called the Center of Energy with another ex-gymnast. And so we'd kind of been trying to build that company. But I started doing stunts, and I started seeing how great it was and how fun it was. And it just, my first big movie was Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. It was one of Drew Barrymore's doubles, and I never looked back. I was like, yep, I'm doing this.
That is so awesome. So do you have any, like any influences that you kind of looked up to going into that line of work?
Well, I didn't know much about it before I got into it. It was sort of like, the classic I fell into stunts kind of thing, because I did. Literally fell into it. I was like, Green Actors Guild, they want how much money for what? I'm not doing this. Yeah, I really was very
Wow.
uninformed about the world and the business. So I didn't know many of the bigwigs going in, but I've had so many people. I mean, for one thing, Nick Rogers, the second unit director and stunt coordinator of Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, he really gave me this huge shot, kind of took me under his wing and taught me a lot of stuff. He had originally called me because they just needed me to potentially come in for like one little scene. Drew Barrymore was supposed to do a backflip off the ring of a boxing ring and land on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh,
and
right.
So I was coming in for like a day. And it got closer to the date and hadn't heard anything, so I emailed him and said, I haven't heard anything about call times or anything. I just want to double check. Because he booked me way out in advance. And he emailed me back and said, oh, I'm so sorry, no one ever contacted you, huh? And I said, no. And he said they decided to go with a female wrestler. And so he felt bad having, put me, and literally I'd had maybe 4 credits. I'd worked on a couple of Nickelodeon shows and one, I really had done nothing. But I'd sent him a tape of stuff I could do because he said, I want to see what you can do. So I sent him I had a stunt friend, Chris O'Hara, really great man and stuntman now, brought me into a gym and said, try all these things. And we videoed it and I sent it in to him. And anyway, he felt bad that I had gotten, kicked out of my one-day job and said, I actually need a second set of doubles for like a 4-day shoot where we're going to be having the main double somewhere else. And you won't really have to do anything, but I'll bring you on for the 4 days. Cool. And so he brought me on for the 4 days. And then 5 months later, I was, getting a lot of the gags myself, and he was teaching me how to do stair falls and high falls and wire work and everything else. So I would say he was a big influence to start, for sure. And then my husband and his partner, my husband Chad Stahelski and his partner David Leach, they own 8711 Action Design, and they just directed John Wick and John Wick 2 and Atomic Blonde. They started as stuntmen. Chad's doubled Keanu Reeves and Dave doubled Brad Pitt, and they've moved through stunt coordinating and second unit directing, and they've pretty much allowed me to come in and watch all their fight team train for years and years and years and teach me a little bit here and there and train with them and learn how to fight and learn how to fall and do wires and stuff. So they are huge influences in my life, in my stunt life, I should say.
I'm not gonna lie, when you just name dropped John Wick and John Wick 2, I geeked out a little bit.
Yeah, big time.
So that's great. I love it.
love that movie. Unfortunately, that's a terrible thing to say. I have 2 kids, so it's tough for me to get to the movies without babysitters. So I haven't seen John Wick 2, but clearly I've kept close eye on it since I did see your Instagram and all your Instagram. You don't have to tell me and BJ how hard you work out because I see your Instagram videos and they are ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I get tired watching them. And you're like, oh, this is just a quick workout. I'm like, bullshit. That thing looks hard as hell. That would take me like
Really hard. Well, first of all, I'm in Scotland and I'm trying to stay focused, and so I'm in the gym a lot.
Yeah.
But also, someone said to me recently, actually, my boss here, Sam Hargrave, amazing stuntman and stunt coordinator and director himself, said something about like, why don't you post some of the workouts you do? Because a lot of times I'll post really good workouts, but I won't post the like super crazy hard ones I'm doing because I figure, oh, nobody probably wants us to do that. And he's like, you should start posting some of these crazy workouts.
Oh yeah, they're cool. They're cool to watch because I'm just like, I could never do that, but that just looks awesome. It's crazy.
Even in my days of playing football in college, I'm not sure I could do those workouts. I might be able to keep up with you like the first 5 minutes, but then once you actually start going, I'm like, all right, I need a timeout before I break something.
Yeah, they are hard, but you know what? Fighting people 8 to 10 hours a day straight is hard too, and you've got a lot of gear on. They make everything as light as possible, but you're still like being held down by a bunch of things, and things are heavy and boots are heavy, and there's a lot going into being able to be conditioned for those fight scenes. And so for me, I think about that every day when I did some funny thing today where I decided to do like some interval training with the treadmill, but instead of sprinting, I ran for like 10 minutes and then I kept the treadmill going, and then I went over to the heavy bag and would do like a bunch of kicks or jump up and do pull-ups and do like 45 seconds of kill myself and then get back on the treadmill. And I was planning, I had my planned, 5 intervals I was going to do, and at 3 I'm like, oh my God, I think I overplayed my hand here. Oh my God. And it was one of those things where I'm like, nope, just remember what it's like on the 10th hour when they haven't got the shot yet, and everyone's counting on you to make sure you look the way you should. So that's actually really motivating because it's hard.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of mental work, I imagine. I mean, really psyching yourself up and really going for it. So very cool about the. I mean, this particular podcast is about like women in the industry and different types of media, and we just want to know like what type of influences you have, and also which you just answered, but also what type of advice would you give to somebody who is wanting to break into this industry?
In the stunt end?
In the stunt end, yes. Sorry.
So there are a few things I tell people wanting to get started in the stunt industry. Number one, be really good and train really hard, and there'll always be a spot for you somewhere. Whether or not it's, the lead double position or, ND stunts, or, maybe you go into stunt rigging, you never know, but work really hard, train really hard, and be really good, and you'll find a spot. I always tell people to be humble, because, you want to be around people who are not only humble but kind, and you enjoy your time with them. And the stunt industry is really interesting because it's not usually through casting we get work. It's more through word of mouth, or through people you've already worked for a lot. And so, a lot of times people are hiring good people and the best people, but they also want to hire somebody, for example, like this trip here where I'm in Scotland we're here for like 2 months, and you want to be around people you enjoy being around. It's a long time. It's a concentrated amount of time. A lot of times we work 6-day weeks. We're on nights right now, so we're living like vampires. So you really do want to have a good attitude. Otherwise, you probably aren't going to get taken a lot of places. Logistically, I would say there's a few things. First of all, you probably want to have some background in athletics if you want to be a stunt person. We perform, under a calculated risk situation, which means we're not going out there. I'm not a daredevil. I don't like jumping off things and breaking bones. I really don't. I like performing and I like being good at things. So, a lot of times it's not those people that come up to you and say, "Hey, I'm crazy. I'll do anything. I can be a stunt person." We probably wouldn't hire you. You sound like you'll get people hurt. But there's a lot of, I don't know much about the rest of the world getting involved in the stunt business, but out in LA where I live, there's something called the stunt contact. and you can pay to have it emailed to you twice a month, and they tell you all the productions and TV shows that are going on and who the stunt coordinators are, and you can send, a demo reel, a headshot, and letter, whatever you want, to the coordinators, just to kind of get your name going and your name out there. And that along with, going to local gymnastics centers and martial arts schools and finding out where the local people are training, just to get to know people so they get to know you, is another way to kind of to get in that way. But yeah, it's challenging. You have to work really hard to, kind of build your name up with people. It takes a few years for people to get to know you. But if you train hard, you work hard, you're a good person, and you get in with the right people, you'll work probably for a lifetime.
Have you when you started in the industry? I know you said your husband kind of has this stunt company now. Did you find, because you were kind of eased into it? I don't know if that's the right word, eased into it, but did you find any like obstacles or any kind of like sexist things going on that you were trying to do some like certain stunts, or that you were looked down upon being a woman in the industry doing something like that, or is that time
Well,
kind of passed?
Um, I wouldn't say it wasn't challenging for me. What happened to me was that I was given a huge opportunity. And I'm kind of that type of person that realizes when you get a huge opportunity, you need to work hard and run with it, because they don't come all the time. So I decided that I wanted to be a really good stunt performer, not a really good stunt performer for a woman, just a really good stunt performer. So I would look around at what the guys were doing, and make sure that I could hang, because I always wanted to be respected. I didn't want to come in and have, there is some, I'm sure, some sexism and that kind of thing within the business. I mean, you women are often, looked at as maybe a little more emotional. There's, nobody wants crying on set. I mean, there's a few things that go along with that. I've been pretty lucky and not really experienced too much of that, but I know there is some of that going on. But to balance that out, there's also these really amazing men that I've worked for that give women not only equal opportunity, but sometimes even more opportunity. I was given a chance to do a cannon roll in a car on the movie called The Host. Actually,
Uh-huh.
my boss now gave me the opportunity, and he didn't have to. You couldn't see who was in the car. He could have done it. He could have gotten a man to do it. They probably normally would have. And he gave me the opportunity to double the girl I was doubling and do this huge stunt. So, you know, I think there's women empowerment within the stunt world, and there's also men on Team Women. So
Well, that's why we have this podcast, is to show, you know we kind of fell into the diversity and representation of Hollywood. I'm, as you know, I'm Chinese. BJ is not Chinese, but we kind of fell into this thing where it didn't make any sense for us to see this stuff happening in Hollywood. And with Wonder Woman coming out this summer, we thought it'd be a great idea to get a bunch of talented women together, be able to talk to them in the industry, and have them kind of tell us what it's been like for them, along with their amazing background, especially yours and the other two women that we have on this podcast. And it's been great. We've already talked to the two women. You, of course, have a great background and a great presence right now too in Hollywood. I was wondering right now if I could geek out a little bit at some of the things
sure.
that you have been a part of. So I'm sorry I couldn't let you go without talking about some of the things that you have been in that I just absolutely love. So let's get the big elephant out of the room.
Okay.
You are Black Widow. Those amazing stunts that we see Black Widow doing, the twirling. I don't even. Do you have a technical name for that move?
Well, technically, Scarlett Johansson is Black Widow,
Well,
but I
okay.
stunt
Well,
double for
yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, so we're Team Widow
Okay.
basically.
Okay. We'll say Team Widow then.
And I always call them widow moves because they're usually a mix between a lucha libre version of an actual judo move with some sort of like fancy flair, fancy movie flair.
Right.
So yeah, we usually call them widow moves because they're a little hybrid of everything.
So how did that come about? Is what I want to know. How did you have to audition for that, or by that time were you already so well known that you just got the part?
No, you know what happened? Tom Harper, a really amazing stunt coordinator and second director, brought me. I'd worked for him a bunch before, and he had Iron Man 2. He was the boss on Iron Man 2, and he needed a double for Scarlett. So he brought myself, who he knew, and another girl as well, who's a good friend of mine. And we both came in and worked with Scarlett and did, did a few little fight thingies for her to see. And he just said, who would you like? And she decided to pick me. So kind of came down to, we both were good for the part, and just more so like who she thought was a better, double for her. So actually, Scarlett picked me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is actually, I never really thought about that before. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
But
Did she ever tell you a reason why she picked you? She just liked the way you moved better, or?
I just think body type wise, I think I was a little more like her body type than the other girl, because she liked us both. She even said that they're both great. They, I like how they perform. But yeah, for whatever reason, she decided to pick me, which I'm very grateful, because it's been a wonderful, wonderful widow ride.
There's some other movies that you've in here that I don't know a lot of people would know about, and then TV show too. There's two other superhero things that you've done on here. There was a short-lived TV show that I kind of liked. It was called No Ordinary Family.
Oh yeah.
It said you had stunt doubled for Julie Benz on there, who I loved her in Dexter as well.
Yeah.
And then the movie Sky High, which was, I believe, a Disney production for this, like, basically a superhero high school.
Mm-hmm.
I love both of those. Any memorable things that happen out of those two?
Yeah, I'm glad people don't usually bring those up. That's really great. Well, first of all, Julie Benz is one of my favorite people in the world. I doubled her on Rambo 4, and we were in Thailand together for, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, I don't know. Kind of like the only girls, and she's just an amazing human being. I love her to death. So when she got No Ordinary Family, she called and, asked for me, which was really, really nice. And that show was really fun. I mean, you know what? Actually, I was sprinting around the Santa Anita racetrack where the horses run for an entire day, which was really cool, because who gets to say they did that? And then we closed down the 710 freeway, and I was sprinting in heels down the 710 with cars parked for, I don't know, maybe half a mile. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, that show was pretty fun. And like I said, Julie's amazing. And then Sky High was really fun. I came in to do kind of a specialty gag with another stunt guy named Michael Huggins, who's awesome. There's a scene in there where two of the kids get thrown into a dumpster, and we used something that feels archaic now, because I haven't used one probably since then. We were going off air rams, and they're these kind of metal plated boards that have like air pressure attached to them, so you can, crank up the air as high or low as you want. So, and they're a little bit challenging to ride usually. And so they wanted us to do something together off two separate air rams into this dumpster that they were going to make crushable. And so he did this gainer half move, and I did this front long layout off an air ram, and we both landed in the trash can at the same time. So it's actually one of my favorite things. He and I spent like weeks rehearsing together before we even went to work, and we were both like really young and new and like trying to impress. So we rehearsed for weeks.
And there's one that also that I love because of the TV show is Serenity. Who did you double for that?
I actually didn't double anybody. I trained a lot with oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name now. The lead actress. I came in and worked with her a bunch. No, it was
Summer.
Summer Reed, yeah, Summer. So she was training. My husband was training her at the time, for the movie. He was stunt coordinating it. So I'd come in and train with her, because sometimes it's nicer to have a girl and somebody you can, watch and that kind of thing. So I trained with her a bunch, and then I ended up coming in to do one scene, this big bar room fight brawl, and I'm pretty sure I was running up a set of stairs, and someone kicks me in she side kicks me in the head, and I go flying off the stairs. That was my job for the day, was to run up the stairs, get kicked in the head, and have a wire pull me into the next wall.
I mean, in the IMDb page it just says stunt, so I figured you might have doubled for somebody there. I mean, your list, your IMDb list is crazy of the movies on here that I've seen, and I was really happy when I saw it's like I said, No Ordinary no ordinary family for it. So it was. I don't know how many people saw that show. I did. I loved it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm bummed it got canned. It was a fun show.
yeah, and Sky High. Anytime it's on Stars, I will just sit there and watch it. I think it's on Netflix right now too.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too. Good
Have
family
you
stuff.
have you ever gotten seriously injured doing stunts or anything that prevented you from finishing any work?
Mm, I've been pretty lucky, you know, with the injury thing. Let's see, I separated the AC joint, my AC joint in my shoulder, and cut my face on I think one of the Captain Americas. Got like jumping through this little window. So that wasn't fun, but luckily I had, a week or two before I had to actually perform and got an MRI, make sure I didn't break my collarbone or anything like that.
Hmm.
And I didn't have any massive tears. So that happened. I I got flung on Star Wars. I forget
What?
which one it was. I think it was like second, or I'm sorry, Star Trek,
Oh, okay.
not Star Wars.
I didn't see Star
Apologies.
Wars. I didn't see Star Wars. Your IMDb. I'm like, wait a minute. Did she just say she's in the new Star Wars?
No, I would. Oops. Oh God. No, Star Trek. I think it was maybe the second one. I don't remember, or maybe it was the first one. I can't remember. Whatever it says up there. But I'm running along this hallway and I get blown up onto the side of the. There's a hole in the ship, and I get blown onto the side of a wall and then sucked out. And it was just this really challenging gag. And every time I did it, I was like hitting a wall or hitting the side, hitting my head. This is one of those things. Like I went to work. I'm like, well, I know I'm gonna get hurt today. I'm just not really sure how bad it's gonna be. And so one time they sucked me out the hole and I didn't hit anything. I just went clean through and we were so not used to it that we didn't know actually what was going to happen. So I kind of spun. I'm on a wire and I'm flying through there and I kind of spun around through the hole and up to the back of the set where the 2x4s were holding the set together, and my calf was what stopped me on the corner of a 2x4.
Ouch.
So that stopped me for a couple hours. And then that I came back and did it a couple more times and we were fine. So I don't know. I've had a few things, but nothing, you know, nothing horrible yet. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Um, so for me and BJ, both of us, we love martial arts films and action films. Obviously, we love the sci-fi, fantasy, action, all the stuff that basically everything that you've ever done. I've watched it
Awesome.
many times. There's even stuff on here that like I didn't even know you were part of that you wouldn't think you would be a part of, but you were. Like Hail Caesar, you were
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Um,
Well, doubled Scarlet.
right. Um, but is there anybody that like for me growing up watching a lot of Chinese Asian action movies, uh, a big female action star for me was Michelle Yao.
Mhm.
Is there anybody that women wise that you haven't worked with that you would just love to work with in that regard?
Well, there there are a few characters that change things for me. Not necessarily. It's interesting because a lot of these actresses will go in and they play this amazing role and then they don't do more action. So like Linda Hamilton,
Hmm.
Terminator 2. I mean, I want to be her. I mean, she's amazing. And then, of course, The Matrix changed a lot for me and everybody, and how people viewed, martial art films. And Trinity, I mean, that character was badass.
Yes.
I think we all wanted to be Trinity, man or woman. But yeah, I feel like I've gotten to work with a lot of the people that I, never thought I would, and have been very excited to work with. Um, Yeah, I'm so lucky. Michelle Rodriguez and Scarlett Johansson are two people that I work with quite a lot, and they're so great. They're both they're really empowering women on their own. They're very nice people. They're always trying to help people out. It's quite nice to be in that company. So it's hard to say I want to work with somebody else because they're so great.
Right, right. I didn't see Fast and Furious 8 on the Fate of the Furious on your filmography. Are you in that as well?
Yeah, I started that movie, doubling Michelle, and then I ended up they ended up dropping me for a few months because there wasn't much going on, and I ended up booking an acting gig doing a Chinese film, actually with Wu Jing. I don't know if you know who he is.
The name's not familiar right now.
He yeah, I ended up acting in a movie in China. So
Oh,
I had,
cool.
yeah, so I didn't finish it. But yeah, I don't, I should probably check on that because I was in the movie.
Oh well, I'm going to see it tonight, so I'll try
Oh,
to see
good.
if I can find
That's a
you
good idea.
in there. I've never actually looked. I've never actually gone to the movies before and actually said, "I'm gonna try to find somebody I know in this movie." So tonight will be
Well,
a first.
that one might be hard because I ended up not doing the her big fight. Somebody else, Natalie Padilla, really great girl, came in for me and replaced me on that one. But yeah, I'm in there a little bit, so good luck.
So is there anything you want to plug besides what's going on right now with the fitness and everything?
Um, I mean, as far as the fitness goes, we also have a couple other products. Um, we have an organic lip balm and a sunscreen. They're called Warrior Paint. And so, for us being outdoors and training and being in California, it's really important to protect your skin, protect your lips. So, you know, that's something I'd like to plug and or talk about. Um, Other than that, no, I mean, I love what you guys are doing. I love the idea of getting a bunch of women together that might empower others and talk about, how we can all make each other stronger. I think that's so positive and so great. And, if we'd all do that, there probably wouldn't be a lot of problems.
Well, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I know your schedule's tight. It's about to get. You cannot confirm or deny that your schedule is about to get tighter. But we usually end every interview with this what we call the big finish, and usually what that is or what it always is just three questions. Everybody gets the same questions.
Mhm.
Um, and we just like to get people's reaction from these questions. So the first question is, what's your all-time favorite character, and it can be from any genre.
My all-time favorite character. Any
Hmm.
movie?
Any movie, TV show, doesn't matter. Comic books.
You know what? The Bionic Woman.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Okay. Any reason why her?
Well, growing up, I mean, I guess you already kind of asked me this question. I didn't really think of her, but growing up, I remember watching The Bionic Woman and thinking, this woman's amazing. I can't believe she was basically a superhero, and I remember thinking, it's great that this woman can stand up there and be as cool and as badass as the guys. And I was pretty little, probably watching syndication.
Who would win in a fight, the Bionic Woman or Black Widow?
Oh, uh, probably Black Widow.
Reason?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Black Widow, because I mean, she's amazing and badass, but she's an ex-Russian spy. She's really smart. No matter, the Bionic Woman might be stronger and more powerful, but she'd figure out a way to best her. I think with her
Uh,
brains.
and that's a good answer. What I know you're really busy again. What is there any TV shows that you have to watch that you have to try and catch? Well, even while you're away, is there something like I have to watch this TV show?
Uh, I usually don't watch things. Well, actually, yeah. Okay, Archer.
Oh, nice, nice.
Archer, Modern Family, um, and I just watched Stranger Things.
Oh, nice one. That's a good
And
one.
I don't like scary things or creepy things, but I started watching it, and then I'm like, oh man, I have to finish it.
Yeah.
I also just started watching Homeland, so there you go.
So, Stranger Things. I think we're about the same age. It kind of reminds me of like a thriller horror slash like Goonies type thing.
Yeah, or like yeah, exactly.
Like we
Those
grew
kids
up.
are amazing.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm sorry. What was the one show you mentioned before Stranger Things?
Modern
Archer.
Family and Archer are shows that I've been watching that that I wait for their season to like come back.
If Archer was on Friends, who would he be dating?
Oh, all of them, man or woman.
I don't think that needs explanation there. Okay, and your top three movies of all time is the final question.
The Princess Bride, The Matrix, and Terminator 2 because I have a crush on Linda Hamilton.
Those are really great films. Funny story about The Matrix is that I didn't even want to go see that movie when it came out. It just looked funny to me, and
Mhm.
the person I was with at the time, she made me go see it, and I ended up being the only person out of the group that we went to go see it with that actually liked that movie.
Really?
Everybody else, yeah,
I thought
everybody else.
everybody liked The Matrix.
I thought so too, but apparently that viewing, everybody they didn't get it. They didn't understand. Like, I don't understand
Oh,
what
you got to
just
get new
happened.
friends.
Well, yeah. Well, that was a long time ago, so I technically did. Uh,
Good for you. See? Moving on up.
movies tend to do that.
Yeah.
So Heidi, again, thank you so much. The one last thing I want to do is if you can right now, without messing around with your window too much, because we've had some internet issues. Could you open your email? Because I sent you an email. We normally,
Can I do it on my phone?
oh, yeah, you can do it on your phone.
Okay.
We usually we usually do a gift, but obviously you being in Scotland right now that's not possible. So we are Chew on This and Nerds United podcast. Our logo is stick figures. So I just want you to open your email and
Okay.
take a look at what we just sent to you
Okay.
and describe it if you could.
Okay, one sec. Let me look on a different phone. Sorry, we're downloading.
That's okay.
Oh my god. You have a picture here that looks like Black Widow. Stick figure picture. Really good, great haircut. Looks just like my hair right now. We've got some lightning sticks and a Black Widow belt, and she looks ready to charge.
So like I said, this is our little pun intended shtick here, where we, our logo, we couldn't, we're a privately funded podcast, just me and me and BJ. So our logo, me and BJ, are actually stick figures. So everybody that we interview gets a stick figure, and that is
Oh,
your official Chew on the Stick figure.
that's amazing. I love it. Can't wait to
All
post it.
right. That's great. We're going to
Thanks,
need a
guys.
picture of it. Thank you
Okay.
so much for doing this. I know logistically it was tough. Good luck
Oh,
to
glad
the
it worked
things
out.
that, yeah, me too. Us too. I'm so glad that you were on, and good luck. I can't wait to see things that you were in that you cannot confirm or deny.
I can't wait for you to see them.
Thanks again, Heidi.
All right. Thank you, guys.